Hey everybody, it's Sharmel. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. So today I am back with a hair tutorial. As y'all can see, I done did some things. So I decided to do mermaid locks again. I did the style last year, but this time around I did it a little differently. So when I first colored my hair back in October for my birthday, when I did the deep red burgundy with the blonde skunk stripe and I did the 2-strand twist boho bob, I really just loved like the color combo with the boho curly pieces and the locks. So yeah, after my birthday when I did that style, I was like, I think I want to do some mermaid locks like this so I can wear it a little longer, something that's partially temporary so I can have it for a while. So that's what I did, you guys. But yeah, that's enough talking, y'all. I love the way that this style came out. So now let's get into this actual tutorial.
As the sun shines on all of my glory, my flaws don't look so bad at all. What was I so afraid of?
Alright y'all, so jumping right into it, I'm going to show you guys everything that I use. So first, starting off with the bundled hair. The hair that I'm going to be using is from House of Chavez, and this is their Coolio Curl, and I got it in 16 inches. I ordered 2 bundles of hair, but for this style, I really only used about 1 bundle. And per usual, I will have all the information linked down in the description box if you are interested in purchasing this hair. But out the packaging, this hair was super soft and I really love these curls. Think they're super pretty. The hair also took really well to color since I had to color these bundles to match my locks. So I did go ahead and do a bleach bath on the bundles. And this is how it turned out. And then I also went in with the colors on the screen to give me that deep burgundy auburn color that I have been wearing for the last couple of months. And so I'm going to be using these bundles to create some DIY K-tips. And so for my K-tips, I did purchase like a K-tip kit off of Amazon. It included this like small flat iron tool, and it also included some keratin bonds. The flat iron tool is optional. If you already have like a small flat iron, that will definitely work, but you will need to get the keratin bonds. And like I said, everything will be linked down below if you're interested in purchasing. And this is what the K-tips look like after I created them. So now let me show you guys how to actually make the K-tips. And let me preface this by saying I am not a professional. This is my first time trying this method. I watched a couple of tutorials, but it was still a lot of trial and error. So I start by allowing the flat iron to heat up, and these are the heating settings, and I keep it on like a medium high heat. Once it's heated, I'm going to take a keratin bead and I'm going to place that on the hot plate, and it's going to begin to like melt down. And while the bead is melting down, I'm going to take my bundle of hair and just kind of lay that flat on a flat surface and spread the hair out. And there's a few methods that you can use. So for the first one, once that bead has melted down, I'm going to take my flat iron and I'm just going to press that into the hair about an inch or so down from the weft. And then I'm going to take that section of hair and pinch it together and kind of roll it in my fingers to create just like a little section of hair to make sure it's all sealed off. And yeah, just kind of play with it and keep pressing until you get the shape that you want, and then it'll look something like this, nice and secure together. And then I just kind of let it dry down. And that was pretty much it, y'all. It's literally that simple for this first method. Be careful too, y'all, because these products do get warm. So when you're like pressing and pinching the hair together, make sure you don't burn your fingers. But yeah, the actual process is pretty easy to do, especially after you find your rhythm. Also keep in mind when you're creating the K-tips, you want to make sure that you're using enough hair that aligns with the density of your locks. So if you have smaller locks, you want to use less hair. If you have larger locks, then you want to add more hair to it. I prefer not to make them too big because I find that when it's time to install, it's a little harder to melt down. So I was kind of keeping it to like a medium density, and then if I needed to add more hair after the fact, then I would do that. But now I'm going to show you guys how I do the second method. So I start by melting 2 beads this time on the flat iron. So I'm allowing that to melt down. Then I'm going to take my bundle and I'm pretty much doing the same process, running the flat iron and the keratin bonds down the hair about an inch or two. But for this method, I'm not going to pinch the hair together. I'm just going to allow it to dry down as is. This method is a lot quicker, it allows you to do more at a time, but on the downside, I feel like the K-tips don't have as much hair and it creates a flatter K-tip, which I didn't really prefer using when it came to installing them, but you can play around with it and do whatever method works best for you. But lastly, once they dry down, I literally just cut them off the weft, and it's that simple. For the flatter K-tips, I do the same method, cut it off the weft. If they're too wide, you can just go ahead and just slice it down the middle and separate them as so. But yeah, y'all, this is the method for creating the K-tips. Pretty easy. It just kind of takes a little time for you to do kind of ahead of time to prep it, but the method itself is pretty easy. Now moving on to the installation portion, I went ahead and started off camera. Again, this is my first time trying this method, so it took me a while to kind of figure out what I was doing. But if this is your first time here, this is what my locks looked like before. I realized that I didn't do a before shot, so this clip is from like a month or two ago. I do have lock extensions that I've had for almost a year. I have a whole playlist dedicated to them. I'll be doing a lock update really soon, so if you want more information about that, yeah, I'll leave those related videos down below. But yeah, on to what we're doing today in this video. So this first part is optional, but I did go ahead and trim my locks just a little bit. I didn't want this style to be super long, even though it still came out super long. So keep that in mind when you are purchasing your bundles, and keep in mind just the natural length of your locks. The longer your locks are, the longer this style is going to be once you add extra hair to it. You can trim it if you want. That's what I did. But again, I have lock extensions, which I'll be cutting off eventually, so I didn't mind trimming these. But yeah, I did trim them just a little bit, but honestly, it still ended up being super long. So now I'm gonna take a lock, and then you can go in with a rat tail comb, y'all. I couldn't find mine, so I was just using this little crochet needle, but I'm just gonna slightly detangle the end. You don't have to detangle it too much, just a little bit, just enough hair to attach the K-tip to. Next, I'm going to take my K-tip, and y'all, this is where it gets real DIY-ish. Again, this is my first time. I really didn't know how to go about attaching these, so I'm going to just spread those little pieces of hair kind of apart, and I'm going to insert the K-tip in the middle, and then I went in with the little flat ironing tool again and just pressed over that end with the K-tip until all of the hairs kind of melted together. I don't know if this was the right way to do it, y'all, but this is the method that I did, and I'm just palm rolling it now just to make sure that all the hairs were stuck together. And yeah, again, I was just trying it out, trying to figure out what I was gonna do, and it worked. So if you do this for real, if you do K-tips for real and I'm not doing it right, educate me. But this is the way that I did it, and it worked for me. If your K-tips are too small and the density doesn't match up to your lock, you can always add 2, which is what I had to do in some cases, which is why I mentioned earlier to be aware of the density when you are creating the K-tips. But when I do 2, I do it pretty much the exact same way. I just insert both of them on the tip and then use the flat iron to adhere the K-tip to the end of my lock, and then I palm roll it. And that's it, y'all. Also, like I said time and time again, there was a lot of trial and error. So if you do try this style and you don't get it right away, it's okay. It took me a minute to really find my rhythm and find my method. But once I kind of figured out what I was doing and figured out how I wanted to go about doing it, it was pretty much smooth sailing after that. But this is how it looks once all of the curly ends are installed. I love the fullness of it. I think it came out super pretty. But after this, I just went ahead and touched up my skunk stripe and evened it out a bit. I did start with clean hair, but I did go ahead and shampoo my hair. Again, be careful when doing this just because the K-tips are still fresh and the curls are prone to slipping. But yeah, after I shampooed and everything, I went ahead and retwisted, and that was the style. But make sure to watch to the end of the video to hear more thoughts about this look.
All right, you guys, so this is the final look, and I absolutely love the way that this style turned out. I'm so happy that I decided to do it. Again, the hair is from House of Chavez and it is their Coolio curl. For this style, especially because it's with locks, I personally like working with bundles that are curlier or more textured, just to help it blend a little bit more cohesively. Like, obviously they're two different textures because we have locks and we have a more loose curl at the end, but as far as like the strands of hair, I definitely recommend with going with something a little more textured. So I would recommend raw hair, which I used last time, because raw hair, especially Southeast Asian raw hair, it has like a lower luster. It's a little more coarse to the texture, and I just love working with raw hair, period. So yeah, you can use whatever hair you want, but yes, I went with something a little more textured. And again, this is from House of Chavez and it is their Coolio curl, and I got it in 16 inches. So now I just want to get into a few more little details about this style. So first, let me say, y'all, this is not a style for everyone, which I know. The method, the technique, it's a bit unconventional. So like I said, this is definitely not a style for everyone, but if you guys have been here, you guys know that I love to experiment with my locks. Locks don't stop nothing, okay? So like I've said, this isn't my first time doing this style, but this was my first time trying this style with the K-tips. So I kind of want to talk about my experience and my thoughts using the K-tips versus doing it with just crocheting the bundles into the ends like I did last year. I know people are gonna ask, like, how long did this style take? So y'all, because of my schedule, I did kind of have to break it up like over the course of a week, but it definitely won't take a full week to do. So the first thing I did was at the beginning of the week, I prepped my K-tips. So for like 3 days, I would spend like an hour a day just making the K-tips. I have a total of 77 locks, but I made more than 77 K-tips. I would recommend making more than what you need, because once you start to install them, sometimes you might need to add a little more. Like, that's what I found myself doing. Like, some of the locks, I feel like I didn't add enough hair to it, so I went back and added another piece. So I definitely recommend making more than what you actually need, and I definitely recommend kind of prepping those ahead of time if you can. So as far as installing the K-tips, the first day I think I worked on it for like an hour and a half, and I got through 2 like nice sections in the back of my head. And then the following day, I worked on it for like an hour and a half in the morning, and then I worked on it for like another hour and a half, 2 hours like later that day. So in total, actually installing the hair, it probably took about 4 to 5 hours. I feel like that's not that long of a time. I will say with crocheting, if I remember correctly, it might have took me like 6 to 8 hours to install the bundles, but like I said, it was more labor intensive. So this time it took like 4 to 5 hours, which is not that big of a difference, but like it's not hard on your wrist crocheting the hair and things like that. The other thing that I like about doing the K-tip method is the shedding. So if y'all remember when I did this style last year, the shedding was so bad, and you know, it felt like it was in there, but over time the hair just started to slip out. I felt like every time I did anything, every time I touched my hair, anything, it was just shedding, and I hated it so bad. And then I remember when I touched it up, I kind of did like some faux K-tips where I used like nail glue to kind of seal the hair together before crocheting it, and that helped some. But last time with the crocheting, the shedding was so bad. This time around, y'all, the shedding has been super minimum. Like, I did just get a couple strands when I just pulled at it now, but I mean, when you're working with loose hair, bundled hair and stuff like that, it's bound to happen, but it's not coming out like in drones like it was when I did it last time. So this method, for sure, the shedding is not as bad, which I really love. But now on to the cons for this method. I know a lot of people will not like the idea of adding adhesive to locks. It's made of keratin. It's made to be safe for hair. Unfortunately for me, y'all, these are lock extensions, but if these were just 100% my natural locks, I probably would be a little bit hesitant. But at the same time, I might even still do it, only because it's applied to the tips. Now, if we were applying the keratin throughout the entire lock, then yes, I would definitely have reservations about that. But since it's literally just applied to the tip, when I remove these, I'm just gonna cut them off. That's probably another question. How do you remove them? To remove them, last time I just cut the ends off because that was the easiest thing, and They're applied on the ends. You probably be cutting an inch or two off. You get a good trim. They do make remover for K-tips, so if you want to invest in that, you can. I personally just don't think it's worth it when it comes to the locks. So yeah, to remove them, you will have to cut these off. So that could be potentially another con. And then the last con that I have, y'all, this is probably mainly due to my own fault or whatever. The residue. So for some of the locks, y'all, you can see it a lot in the front right here. The keratin left like residue, and I'm sure, like I said, it's probably the way that I was installing them and rubbing the kind of palm rolling it and stuff. So yeah, I'm in the process of trying to figure out how to get rid of some of the residue that's left behind. Some of it is worse than others. I think part of it is also my hair is colored, and I feel like it's really picking up the residue, or it's showing the residue a lot more. I don't know. It could be the quality of the little ball things. I don't know what they call, like the keratin balls that I use. I'm sure that this probably wasn't the highest quality because I got it off of Amazon. So it could be that. But yes, I do not like the residue. So yeah, I've been kind of just trying to do some research on how to get rid of the residue. If you have any recommendations, please let me know. I did kind of try to take some, because I seen something like oil, but I felt like I didn't want them to slip off too much. But I did kind of went over some of them and just rubbed a little oil on it, and it got rid of some of it. But y'all, some of it is still there. So yeah, that's the one thing that I don't like, is the little residue that you can see in some of them. But I will definitely keep you guys updated if I come up with a method or find something to get rid of it. I will definitely let you know. Thinking about getting like maybe some like alcohol wipes and kind of going over them. But like I said, I'm just worried about if I try to get too much of the residue off, it's just going to make the hair fall off. So I would also say that this is definitely kind of a trial and error style. It definitely took me a minute to kind of find my rhythm. Some of them are not perfect, so I'm sure I will have to do little touch-ups here and there. But overall, y'all, I love it. I love the overall look. But yeah, y'all, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I will definitely keep you guys updated. I will be doing an actual like update on my locks really soon, because y'all, I've almost had these lock extensions for a year now. I can't believe we almost had a year. So I will definitely be doing an update for you guys really soon, and I will definitely continue to keep you guys updated on this style. Ideally, I would like to wear it for at least, I think last time I wore the style for about 4 months. So if I can get another 4 to 6 months out of this style, obviously probably with touch-ups here and there, like, I would be more than happy. But yeah, y'all, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social media platforms, and I'll see you beautiful people in my next video. Bye.
Thank you.